Hello everyone, my name is Phant, and we are going to be doing something a little differently this week. You may notice I'm not up in my space station like I usually am. I decided to come down and take a brief visit to Hawaii to enjoy the beaches, take a road trip through a rainforest, explore lava tubes, and scuba dive in the crystal clear waters of an ancient crater. Welcome to the island of Maui. I was fortunate enough to be invited to stay at one of the most extravagant, all-inclusive resorts on the island thanks to my sponsors. Well, not actually. I don't have sponsors. I have to pay for this myself. So I'm in a cheap Airbnb in a building showcasing the best architecture of the 1960s. But hey, it has a pool and wonderful markers to tell me where to go. And look at that, shopping carts to carry all my things. In all seriousness, although the building is not impressive, it still offers ocean views and is not far from the beach. While not as busy as Oahu, Maui is still a popular destination, receiving about 25% of the state's annual tourism, and it is not difficult to see why. The geography of Maui is strikingly beautiful. The island is covered in black sand beaches, stunning coastlines, lush rainforests, and lava fields. Maui is primarily made from two giant shield volcanoes, Haleakala to the east and Mauna Kahalawai to the west. The southern half of the island lies in Haleakala's rain shadow. With little to no rain, the landscape is quite barren in comparison to the northern side that's only 10 or so miles away, which is covered in rainforest. The first thing I wanted to get was some shaved ice. Delicious. I stopped in a gift shop because they advertised the modern luxury of air conditioning, and it was pretty hot out. I wouldn't recommend buying anything from the gift shops on every street corner though, unless you really want a mass-produced tiki mask or a surfboard with your name on it. I tried my best, but I couldn't find Phant anywhere on here, even though there were plenty of weird names. I mean, what is so special about Jesus anyway? I didn't really have anything planned until the next day, so I spent the rest of the evening stopping at random places that looked somewhat interesting. No matter where I went, birds were absolutely everywhere. Especially chickens, which were brought over when the islands were settled hundreds of years ago. If you don't watch your feet, it is only a matter of time before you just trip over one of them. I was lucky enough to find a bunch of sea turtles on a hidden beach, relaxing in the afternoon sun. But I couldn't enjoy them for long because I needed to get back and prepare for the road to Hana. Look in any travel guide, and one of the activities always listed is to take a drive on the road to the city of Hana. The road starts at Kahului and runs for 65 miles along the coast. Almost everywhere you stop, there is something worth seeing. The road can be very narrow at times and is not for the faint of heart. There are also plenty of poor drivers to deal with, so it can be a little stressful. Throughout the drive, you will witness many signs from locals advertising their world-famous banana bread. Every vendor claims that their banana bread is the best in all of Hawaii. I stopped at the halfway to Hana food stand since a local told me theirs was truly the best. I'll be honest though, as far as I can tell, all the banana bread tastes exactly the same, but it is quite good. There are so many points of interest that I got choice paralysis and couldn't decide what to do with the time I had, until randomly just deciding to pick one. Waterfalls just like this one right behind me appear every couple miles on the road to Hana. While no swimming is allowed in this specific spot, there are many falls where you are encouraged to go for a dip and enjoy the fresh water. It's impossible to stop at every scenic area along the road in a single day. I narrowed down my next stop to the Waihanapanapa State Park, and I greatly apologize to all the native Hawaiians for being absolutely terrible at pronunciation. The name of the park means glistening waters, and can get so crowded at times that a reservation is required in advance to park your car at the park. There are a handful of hiking trails to partake in of varying difficulty depending on how far you are willing to go, but no hiking is needed to enjoy the breathtaking views, as a short walk from the parking lot brings you right next to the coast. There are even stray cats that frequent this area to keep you company. The park is advertised as being remote, wild, and having a sense of solitude. Though, with the crowded beach and packed parking lot, it is actually quite noisy. To get away from the crowds, I took a route starting from the beach, hugging the coastline for about a half mile. It runs through some short, steep segments and ends in a large lava field with excellent views of the ocean, the park, and the north side of Haleakala. I enjoyed my time here for a while before heading to the next stop on the road. Well past the city of Hana itself lies a church that is home to the final resting place of the legendary aviator Charles Lindbergh. It is quite a beautiful place next to the cliffs, and most don't make it this far along the road, so the peace and quiet was a great break from the bustling waterfalls and the crowds at the state park. Before turning back, I stopped to see the 7 sacred pools at Oheo'o Gulch. There are actually significantly more pools here than 7, depending on the time of year and the tides. The pools were closed for swimming the day I visited, though honestly, I am surprised swimming is allowed in a place called the Sacred Pools to begin with. While this was the furthest I traveled on the road to Hana, there were still a few places that were skipped on the way out here. Time remained for one last activity on the return trip, the Hana lava tube, claiming to be the largest on the island. Most lava tubes are inside state parks or part of a national monument, but this one is located on some lucky guy's property, charging $15 a pop to come in here and see some cave slime. They do provide flashlights though, and even have signs telling me about the cave. This place has everything. Come here, look at this, look at this. This is designated as a fallout shelter. The owner has a sign back there stating in the event of disaster he plans to take himself and 14 beautiful women into the cave to survive the apocalypse. I think I got heckin' scammed. I'm not expected to go in there, am I? I'm bending down, but I'm not sure I'm ever going to be able to get back up. Ah! There it is. There's the cave slime. We found it. Alright, I think I'm good. Let's go back. And with that, the journey on the road to Hana had come to an end, and it was time for a much-needed break. I had the opportunity the next day to go for a round of golf at the Wailea Golf Club. At least some of it. Although we are in an area that rarely gets a significant amount of rain, I must have angered the gods by filming this tiki statue for some B-roll, because immediately after, the sky opened up in an area roughly encompassing this golf course and literally nowhere else on the island. We had to call it a day early. Without a doubt, scuba diving was the one thing I was looking forward to the most. I chartered a dive boat to take me on 2 dives just off the coast of Maui, and it did not disappoint. I am here on the dive boat about to get ready to go out for the first dive at Molokini Crater. Molokini is an ancient crater a few miles off the coast of Maui. Formed by volcanic activity, half of the crater is submerged, giving it a striking crescent moon shape above water. During World War II, the island was used as target practice for the US Navy since it closely resembles a ship. This resulted in severe damage and unnatural erosion on the backside of the island, but the inside here was largely untouched. Today, it is a popular location for snorkeling and scuba diving. Although we are not underwater yet, just look off to the right side to get a peek at the water. I have never seen water like this before, just teeming with fish. Well, let's get suited up. Getting ready to dive off the boat, I was hoping to get a cool shot of the jump, but I accidentally turned off the camera, so you'll have to just accept this inserted splash sound effect. Splish! The underwater views were immediately incredible. It felt like I was in an aquarium. Not this shot here, this is actually just an aquarium, but the actual ocean was even more impressive. I would like to note that most of this first dive was filmed by a lovely family member who was trying their best. The dive lasted approximately 40 minutes and was an easy one thanks to the lack of a strong current, and the most interesting thing I saw was this neat cornet fish. On the way to the next dive, which was located much closer to the shore, I commandeered the camera and took it into my own hands. It took a while to get my footing because this was a dive in a rapid ocean current. Right here I am not using my flippers at all, simply floating at a very high speed. I was initially a little disappointed with the lack of sea life, but shortly into the dive, things picked up, and I actually saw more varying types of fish than on any dive I had taken in the past. I'd like you to enjoy the views as I attempt to catalog as much of these as I can. while many fish run at the sight of divers. Some are curious and want to take a look. Not everything in the ocean is free swimming, and at times, some surprises can be found hidden in the reefs. Alright, I'm not even going to try and identify everything here. This was my breaking point, so good luck to anyone who wants to try to identify every fish here. Towards the end of the dive, there's a small cave to go through. It's easy to miss because if you are not close to the reef, the current will sweep you away before giving you a chance to enter it. In here, I spotted the only shark on the dive trip, a white-tip reef shark. Once out of the cave, I was greeted with another turtle before once again entering the high-speed current. Turtles will turn their back to you if they don't want to be bothered, so I wanted to make sure to give this one space. I had to try as hard as I could to not damage the coral as I was rushing by. By the time the dive was coming to an end, I had traveled about a mile and stayed underwater for approximately 70 minutes. By far the furthest and longest dive I have ever done. If you stay underwater for too long, harmful decompression effects can happen, so it was time to finally put a cap on this one and return to the surface and head back for the evening, but not before grabbing yet more shaved ice. Before I knew it, the last day of the trip had arrived. Most of the time thus far has been spent around Haleakala and the southern shores, so for the final day, I took a shorter drive around the west side of Maui. While lacking in the sheer number of activities and points of interest compared to the road to Hana, I found the drive itself to be much more enjoyable, and if you really want that famous road to Hana banana bread, well, you can get that here too, and I can confirm it might as well be the same bread. The northern edge is home to Dragon's Point, a lava flow that supposedly cooled, forming what has been described as dragon's teeth, though I just see rocks. The trade winds can really be felt in this area, causing the large waves crashing into the shore. I had to sit here for approximately 20 minutes to get a small window of time not filled with people trying to pose for a picture with a wave about to crash over them. Upon further driving, I noticed an abnormally large amount of cars parked in one turnoff. I, of course, had to get out and investigate. All of these people from the cruise ships came to see some water come out of a hole, a feat most accomplished several times daily, and certainly nothing that sounded too impressive. I've been sitting on this rock for 10 minutes hoping something happens. I guess that was pretty cool. Alright, I got it. We can go now. The only other stop remaining before heading back home were some tide pools where I was promised starfish and oysters, but found only disappointment. Oh, it looks like a rock. Although this week went by in a flash, I sincerely hope you all enjoyed the journey and all the wonderful things that can be found on this little island. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do me a favor and like, comment, and subscribe. I also have a Patreon linked in the description that directly supports the creation of videos like this one. I hope to see you all again next time.